Today's computer problem at Cape Canaveral was distressing, perhaps, but for most Americans, not totally surprising.
Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in today. My name is Ghazanfar Riaz, also known as G. I'm the head of digital at Visionet. And some quick intro about Visionet. So Visionet is a global technology company provider and a managed partner for Microsoft. And we specialize in AI-centric solutions. Digital transformation, e-commerce is a big thing for us. And all these business automations are for industry-based customers across the globe. So coming to our topic today, which is a very exciting topic, where we are going to discuss about how the digital landscape is evolving and how things are reshaping for every organization. And the topic, the title for today's topic is Redefining E-commerce with AI Headless Architecture and for Sustainability Growth. So this is one of the many sessions where we would explore the transformative impact that the commerce and the AI is bringing in from a future retail perspective, from manufacturing perspective, and many other industries, right? And we'll discuss some of the best practices to help you stay ahead, which would help you with cost reductions, which would help you with productivity boosts, as well as like give you a competitive edge that we all are looking for from an organizational perspective. So with that, joining me today on the panel are two of my favorite experts in the field, Quintin from Microsoft and our fast-track architect, Mr. Noman from Visionet. So I'll let you two introduce yourselves. So Quintin, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, G. Really happy to be here today to talk about headless commerce, one of my favorite topics. As you alluded to, my name is Quintin Hunkin. I'm a technical specialist here at Microsoft with a specific focus on Dynamics 365 finance and operations. Work a lot with Dynamics 365 Commerce, and really happy to be here with the Visionet team. One of my
Awesome.
Yep.
Noman?
Thank you, G. Noman Saeed. I'm a D365 technical solution architect at Visionet. I'm also a D365 Microsoft recognized fast track solution architect from last 3 years. I'm in this space from last 10 years, playing with the Microsoft headless components and fulfilling the customer needs based on their requirements using this awesome component, which we are going to explore today. Definitely, there will be an AA touch as well. That's all.
Amazing. So pleasure to be here with both of you. And now let's get started. So based on our today's topic, everyone wants to understand like what is headless commerce, right? And there are so many jargons that are out there, whether it is composable, whether it is the API first design, whether it is the headless commerce. So we want to differentiate and explain to our audience that what is the actual difference between the headless commerce and how it is any different from the traditional e-commerce models that are out there, right? So I would let all my experts explain on that, but I just want from a layman perspective, wanted to set some guardrails around that. So within the traditional e-commerce aspect, the front end and the back end are tightly coupled, right? That's something that has been going on for quite some while. We're looking into MVP and things of that sort from an architecture perspective. But the changes that on the headless side are more on the architecture side, where you are basically taking out the front end, which is the customer facing interface, and the back end, which is the e-commerce functionalities. Those are two separate things, right? So from a front end, all the responsibility aspects are geared towards the user experience part, while the back end operations, as well as the management of the inventory, the checkout processes, the order fulfillment aspects, all those are within the back-end components of the headless commerce architecture, right? And explaining it in terms of that part from a separation perspective, how can we utilize those things are based on the customizations, the scalability aspects, and many other e-commerce engine functionality that is there. But the important aspect is that what we would be able to achieve from that, right? So the adoption rates that we've seen that the organizations are looking towards is 60% of the businesses are actually adapting to it and planning on moving towards the headless approach because of the improved agility that they would get, right? And then from a conversion rate, that's also something that is very, very important, because like now customers are more geared towards how can I engage better, what would be the seamless experience for me, how can I place an order very quickly, what is an intuitive way of doing that part. All those kind of omni-channel expansions are something that the expectation from 80% of the consumer is being set by the organizations that want a competitive edge, right? So in today's session, what I would like to cover is to discuss about the best practices, as well as like talk about the key advantages of headless commerce for scaling and online presence, right? So for that, Quintin, if you can shed some light on that perspective, and then maybe we can go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I talk to my customers, and especially in retail or commerce or manufacturing, what they're really looking for is a unified customer journey. And a unified customer journey is really all about an omni-channel experience, right?
Mhm.
And as you alluded to, having this architecture that allows you to decouple your front end and your back end experiences, it's great because it allows you to have enhanced omni-channel experiences as well as scalability, right? Retailers can quickly adapt to the front end experiences of each channel, which allows for that seamless and unique brand experiences. But at the same time, that headless commerce architecture allows them to keep up with those evolving customer expectations, right? From a scalability perspective. And since each front end is independently deployable, any sort of new brick and mortar location that they set up, they're able to do it and work on it independently, rather than having that tight coupled front end and back end, which is how traditional architectures usually worked, right?
Makes sense.
And if you're a company, right, that has disparate systems that uses a different e-commerce, a different finance and supply chain management, integrating all these through technology to make these systems talk to each other so orders don't get lost, inventory doesn't get forgotten, that's challenging, right? And that's where that headless commerce architecture is going to come in. It allows you to interact with that data and serve it to any of those channels.
That's very interesting. And based out of what you just defined, putting something into the market as soon as possible is the key for any organization, right? And reducing that development time aspect from 30 to 40% by utilizing this architecture is a key that would give a big competitive edge to any organization. So on that part, Noman, what's your experience so far by utilizing this technology?
Thank you, G. So, with respect to the key advantage, definitely as a system integrator, this is a very important point. Like, what is the customization and the flexibility of this architecture? So, the good part is business users can leverage the APIs. They can build the customer experience for the different segments. So having the headless structure, you can do the customization for your different regions, because the organizations are growing and they have a different requirements. Every region like Europe, US, or Asia have its own custom legal issues and other stuff. So to meet all of those requirements, the best architecture is the headless. So business can customize their system using the APIs, which give them a flexibility, which basically lead them toward the most important point you just touch up, the faster time to market. When you have a headless architecture, that is a decoupled structure where you can divide your teams into back end and the front end. So our team can work on one side where they can focus on the API developments, and the other team can work on the customer experience based on the that specific regional requirement. And the good part is, once you have the APIs and the headless APIs, you can utilize those API for the different applications. So time to go to market. For example, in the traditional um, way of development, we were designing the web app separately, the mobile app separately, and then the desktop actual operational system separately. But if you are using the headless, so you will develop the single API headless component, which will help to utilize all of those features to in omni-channel applications, and you will get the omni-channel experience as well. So these are the two very basic uh, uh, advantages which help the system integrators to go faster to go to market and give them more control on the flexibility and the customization.
No, quite well said. Thank you, Noman. And that brings up another question that everyone is asking, right? Like we have received so many different queries on this with our prospects, with our customers that wants to move into a headless commerce architecture. So, in terms of Microsoft, Quentin, I would lean on you to answer this one. The question becomes that there's so many different solutions in the market right now from a headless commerce architecture perspective that is supporting it. How is the Microsoft D365 Commerce any different? And then what is it that have an edge over any other solution that is out there in the market?
Absolutely. So, we support this headless commerce architecture with a key component that we call the commerce scale unit. This commerce scale unit acts as that engine that you were just referring to, right? It has its own unified set of business logic, and it allows you to interact with your ERP data and serve it to a wide range of different channels.
Mm-hmm.
And that unified business logic is a set of APIs that you were just talking about, Noman, right? We come with hundreds of different APIs in this engine, and so as far as how we support that architecture and what makes us sort of different, it's really that CSU that acts as that sort of anchor in between your ERP and the different channels. That allows you to have that decoupled deployment and that API driven sort of commerce from that perspective. Now, what makes us different is that our commerce scale unit's going to live natively on our ERP. So you can just deploy the CSU, right from LCS onto your F&O system, and then you have that native and seamless integration with your ERP already. That being said, we can still connect to other third-party ERPs as well, but I would say that's probably our biggest differentiator is that it's already tightly coupled with our ERP, and you can connect it to any channel that you would like.
Amazing. So that means that it would be a modular commerce service based out of the environment already available to the organizations, and then they can basically just extend it out utilizing the API first approach. Amazing.
Absolutely, right. What you can do is you can set up your products one time in your ERP, push it up to your different channels. Whereas, what also makes this different is you only have to set it up one time. And with a lot of other sort of systems, there's a lot of data duplication, in the front end system and the back end system. Ours, you set it up one time, you push it up to the channel for it to consume. Then as your orders are placed, you have that seamless integration to create those sales orders automatically in the system.
Amazing. So Noman, if you want to shed some light on the extensibility aspect of D365, I think like that from a development perspective is very much developers are keen on understanding that, and then the leaders, the CXOs are also interested in that part as well.
Yeah, that is a very important point, because whenever any business organization decide to add any component into their ecosystem, their first question is about their extensibility, like how they can have their own people to extend that component. The good part of this is the Microsoft Dynamics component CSU, which just Quintin explained, that provide you the REST APIs. So the developer community can easily extend those APIs or add new APIs into that. It is a purely API first approach. Microsoft give you out of the box 1200 plus APIs. So having 1200 plus APIs after just spinning your CSU, you can launch your web store just adding a new team, which is a storefront team, or you can add your mobile apps into your ecosystem by utilizing those 1200 plus APIs. The second most important component, G, is which we have been sell to a lot of our customers, and they build the application in a very small time period. That was the modular commerce services, because this CSU component come up with the 60 plus modules in that. Like, if you have to build your application, the main component is you have to work on your products, on your checkout process, on your cart process, your SEO and search. So Microsoft come out of the box with all of these modules. You just need to call the specific APIs, and the beauty on top of that is They give you a Swagger, which is a full documentation of each API, like you have which API what payload you have to provide, what response you will get, and which helps a lot to the development community because they don't need to reinvent the wheel. They have those APIs, which data is available from the ERP. They just need to build the context, call the API, and they are getting the data. So the CSU component is a game changer, I would say, for a headless community because you just need to spin a CSU and focus on your customer experience. That's it.
Amazing. And based out of that, like many of our customers who are currently on D365 finance and operation or supply chain aspects, they are considering headless commerce from that perspective, right? And what you talked about from a unified operations perspective, a launching just a CSU, and then that would extend all their capabilities, whether it is from a supply chain perspective or warehouse perspective or from the finance and operation perspective, that is a key thing. So would like to talk on that part, that if companies are considering companies who are using already finance and operation as well as supply chain or WMS, what would be your suggestion to them, or what would you recommend to them? I'll start with Quintin.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an existing F&O customer, there's no reason, if you have any sort of sales channels, why you shouldn't use the CSU and our headless commerce, right? You can deploy it straight from LCS. It's already natively integrated with F&O. So if you're, a manufacturing company that wants to stand up a new B2B channel, why go invest in some platform out there that has its own headless commerce engine? Then you have to build all these APIs that interact with your ERP. Why not just deploy what we already have out of the box, the CSU, with those 1,200 APIs that Noman was just talking about, that can already interact with every part of your data that you want to interact with in your ERP. So as far as why they should consider it, unified data and operations, right? You can leverage your existing investment. You have that native integration, improved customer experience because you can easily interact with that data that's already there and serve it up to any channel that you would like. And then that scalable sort of growth, right? You don't have to re-architect core business processes. You can work on each channel independently, and you can deploy them, faster, and you can do it in a more scalable manner, right?
Amazing. So music to ears of any CXO, right? Like a unified
Yeah,
data and operations, improved customer experience, and scalable growth. That's
absolutely.
music to the ears, no doubt about it. So based out of that, I think from the offerings perspective, we should also cover a few things about the offering side as well, right? Like Microsoft has a tremendous amount of capabilities in terms of the CSU aspect. Now, from the offering perspective, there's so many options that are out there from a front end perspective. There are so many options that are there from a middleware perspective. How are things basically being governed from that perspective, and what are the right kind of offerings that are available that would actually lead towards what would to enable this kind of environment or this kind of technology for any organization? So based out of that, I think that is going to be a major thing that we should discuss. In terms of the offering part, of course, like Visionet is a managed partner with Microsoft, and together with Microsoft, we have built a certified solution, which would not only help with the B2B implementation, with the headless commerce implementation, but also it is tailored to looking into and accelerate all those complex business needs that any organization has, right? So enterprises that are looking towards more customized API integrations, more optimized flows for bulk purchase, bespoke user experience, all those kind of experiences are basically available within few of our offerings that are there. And I'll let Numan talk more on it. But like we have headless solutions, commerce deployed it into so many different things where we have done it with React as a front end, where we have done it with Vue. And many other technologies that are available. Agio, that's another one that we have done. But in terms of the offerings, I would let Numan discuss more about our specialized B2B headless commerce solutions. So, Numan, if you can please shed some light on how we have utilized the CSU aspect from an implementation side, and how we have extended that out into a full-fledged solution for our customers.
Thank you, G. This is a very important component because Visionet is a system integrator, and we have defined a lot of products and the accelerator on top of the same component, which Quinton was advocating about the CSU. So Visionet has two main offering which are available on the Microsoft App Source. One of them is for the B2C, where we provide a full end-to-end implementation to the business if they want to add their digital footprint in their ecosystem, so they can get that offer and we can help them to spin the whole B2B commerce website. The second most important and most sellable offer is the B2B web portal, because nowadays a lot of supply chain and manufacturer business which are already using the dynamics, they are adding their footprint into the digital market. So they need the portals where we have a B2B web portal offering, which is a purely B2B commerce platform, which help them to go to market very short time. So you can spin a whole new channel, which is a new sales increasing part within 2 months. And that offer is also available on the app source. The third main offer is, which basically highlight the capabilities of this headless CSU component, is the headless CSU with the view storefront. View storefront is a third party storefront which is available for B2B and B2C both type of business. So VNet has a partnership with them, and we create a connector, out of the box connector. So that is not a custom. Like if you go to the view storefront, that is automatically connect with the CSU, and it is having the capability to get the data, product data, and show on the storefront and create the sale order back to the seamless integration with the ERP. So no custom code required with that offering. That is the second one. The third offer we have, so VNet is having a product which called the partner link. That is a middleware product which help you to integrate with all the third party applications as well. So that product allows in two different ways to work with the dynamics. So one is the CSU route, which is very seamless integration. So you just need to spin a CSU, and then you will have the control to integrate with you all the third party systems. For example, you have a lot of shipping third parties, you have tax services, you have payment services. So this offering help you to integrate with all these type of third parties, as well as it help you to integrate with the dynamics seamlessly using the CSU component. And
Makes
definitely Microsoft allows the extensibility, and lot of vendors are building different offerings on top of that. The advantage to the VNet is we have a lot of accelerators in this space as well. So for example, I was telling like there are 1200 plus APIs and 60 modules. On top of that, VNet has a lot of accelerators. For example, third party search implementations, VNet have multiple partners which we implemented for different clients. For payments, we have to build the connector, and we work, Microsoft come up with out of the box payment with the ADN as well, but we have been work with 15 plus payment providers which accelerators are available. So in the same way, for all different type of B2B commerce needs, VNet also have some accelerators which are available on app source as well.
And I think this is the best part about the Commerce Scale unit, right?
Agree.
You can connect with any front end that you like. You know, you don't have to use our front end for Dynamics 365 Commerce. You want to go use a different solution, but use the CSU as that sort of integration layer. And then to your point, Noman, another great thing about it is you can build those surround services within the CSU. So you want to connect to a different gateway, you want to, have Avalara, all these different things that you can build into the CSU to provide in an omnichannel manner. So, Visionet's done a great job with that, with what you guys have done.
Thank you, Quintin. And then that brings us a very important aspect in terms of where have we deployed such a amazing offering into production, right? And one of the examples that I can relate to is we have one of the customers that one of the biggest manufacturer of solar panels, as well as like a distribution. So they are a global company. They have different business units across the globe. So about like from a regional perspective, they have about 7 different regional sites and customers that are associated to it. Now, the challenge with them was that they had so many different technology being used. They were using Adobe, they were using Shopify, they were using Salesforce, they were using D365. And then what they wanted to do was to consolidate all those things together. Think of the churn that it would take to develop something and deploy it into all those different sites. Now, the challenge that they had was that they had different teams that were actually working on it, and not everyone knew all the technologies. Where we were able to embed this CSU was all the commerce aspects, whether it was for pricing, whether it was for the digital assets, for the tiers, for the customer aspect, for the account, for the fulfillment part. All those orchestration was within D365, and it was then exposed through that same kind of front end that they had. So what we did was we decoupled the commerce engine from those websites, and then utilized D365 and then embedded that from the CSU level, which orchestrated all those kind of things from a backend perspective, and then powered all the front end that they already had. What it did was like it reduced 40% of the effort that they had putting it into the mix. So it was a big win for them. And from a structured perspective, like it is an amazing case study that we've developed and worked along with Microsoft on it. And we have, of course, tremendous amount of other case studies as well. The list goes on and on, but that is something, because of the time, we won't be able to cover everything. But at least I just wanted to share at least one of that, so that like everyone understand that how were they able to achieve gazillion hours saved by all these kind of things, and then how the customer service aspects were also covered up through that portion of the mix. So with that, like I know like we're at top of our hour, I just wanted to thank you to our panelists and to all that are tuning in today. And we would love to understand what your challenges are, how we can help, and also we would be in the upcoming weeks, we would be doing few more podcasts based out of the same topic, and we would dwell into more deeper areas that would drive sustainability growth across the globe. So please be on a lookout for more sessions as we continue to explore the future of digital commerce. And until next time, we would keep on innovating, keep on adapting to new things. And on that, I would like to have my panelists to set some closing remarks, light on some closing remarks, and then we'll basically end the session.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, G and Noman. Always love working with Visionet. I highly recommend you guys as not only an F&O partner, not only a Dynamics 365 partner, but anything you want to do with Microsoft technology and beyond. So I really appreciate you both for having me.
No, thank you, Quintin. You have always been there from an architectural perspective as well as like a guidance, and thank you for all that part. Noman, anything?
Thank you, Ji. So this is the ore of the, I would consider it ore of the need, because right now, as you mentioned, we recently live a lot of customers for this quick go-to-market strategy using the CSU. So the headless is the need of the ore. All the business are focusing on their omni-channel and their digital footprints, and Microsoft platform headless CSU can help them achieve that goal very easily. And we are here to help. Everybody can reach us and we will guide them with the Microsoft guidance and the industry practices. That's all.
Amazing. Well, thank you once again, gentlemen, for taking time out. It was a great discussion and many more to come. So everyone stay tuned, and we will meet again.